that there was multiple kids on the ground, and that is when I realized that 4 kids had actually been stabbed.
Jurors hearing from the Shelton teen who threw that house party 3 years ago, detailing on day 3 of the Raul Valle murder trial what happened the night Fairfield Prep student Jimmy McGrath was stabbed to death. Matt McFarland's your reporter who's been covering the case from the very beginning. He is live outside the courthouse with more on today's developments. Matt?
Hi there, Mark. They also heard from one of the teenagers that was stabbed that night, the last witness today to take the stand, Faison Teal. He was stabbed, sliced in the arm during that fight. One of 3 people who testified today, all of them who were at the party, including the teen who threw the party.
And I seen Jimmy, like, just sitting there bleeding out, and Sal and Jacob were, like, trying to help him. And then after that, someone came up to me with a flashlight, and it was like, face on your arm. And all I saw was like a big piece of fat, like hanging out of my arm, and just blood like bleeding down the side of me.
Do you recall being stabbed that night?
No, I do not recall.
Now, before Faison Teal took the stand late this afternoon, jurors heard from Tyler Rich, now 21. It was his home on Laurel Glen Drive, where Shelton High kids gathered when Raul Valle and some friends from St. Joseph's High School in Trumbull showed up, with a fight eventually breaking out. The 2 groups had been beefing after a fight at another party earlier that night on May 14th, 2022. Rich testified he punched Valle and started wrestling with another St. Joe's kid, later seeing McGrath struggling to breathe, bleeding on his front yard. But during cross-examination, defense attorney Kevin Smith asked Rich why he initially didn't tell police that he was the one to throw the first punch, that there was drinking at the party, or why he didn't just call cops when the party crashers refused to leave.
No, the reason I didn't call the cops was because I figured these kids were going to leave at any of the given 3 or 4 times they had the opportunity to, and I never thought in a million years that they were going to come back to my house, trespass on my property, and stab 4 of my friends.
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
And after Rich, jurors heard from Ricky Fiola, now 20, who went to the party that night with McGrath, a friend of his. Fiola testified he saw Valle holding a knife while he was trying to tell him to leave. They did, but prosecutors say they returned 5 minutes later with that fight breaking out. Valle, who was just 16 at the time, is charged with murder and assault.
I heard Charlie yelling, "He's got a knife," and I had already seen the knife, and I was like, holy crap. I turned around and immediately rushed to the scene, which is when I saw the first person I laid my eyes on was Tommy Connery, who's on the ground. He was grabbing his leg, and he was in pain. I saw people kind of huddling around him, realizing like what had just happened in real time, because I don't think everyone actually knew what was going on instantly, but I had seen him and there was blood. I lifted my head back towards the road, where I saw Jimmy lift his shirt up, say, "I just got stabbed," collapsed to the ground.
Now, Faison Teal, that last witness, he was still on the stand, still being questioned by the state prosecutors when the judge broke for the day late this afternoon. He'll be back on the stand first thing tomorrow morning. Your reporter live outside Milford Superior Court, Matt McFarland, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Also